My name is Nick Elwine, and today we are going to be looking at the strategic goal for Netflix. So, the mission for the company is we promise our customers stellar service, our suppliers a valuable partner, our investors the prospects of sustained profitable growth, and our employees the allure of huge impact. And then their vision statement is becoming the best global entertainment distribution service. And so, with those, before we get to our strategic goal, we have to look at the SWOT analysis and kind of see what the strengths, the opportunities, the weaknesses, and the threats are of the organization, so we can kind of create a goal that would be for our company specifically. So some of the strengths that I came up with is its global presence. It's in over 190 countries, and it is one of the first successful online streaming video services that was ever created. So they are that leader in this field. And the final thing is their brand name. They're the most well-known streaming service in the world. And so some opportunities that would be helpful for them is creating an original content for niche markets. So for certain countries possibly, or ethnic cultural minority groups within the United States. Then another thing, which they have started to do more often, is team up with electronic brands like T-Mobile or AT&T and offer their service if they buy a phone from one of those companies. So like 6 months free or something kind of along those lines. And the final thing would be invest more of the money into research and development, and kind of seeing what people are actually watching on their brand or their programs, and seeing what people actually want to see rather than just kind of creating whatever. And then some weaknesses that the company does have is a growing operational expense, and they also have limited rights to content, and now especially with all these other providers coming out, such as Paramount, HBO, Amazon. They are taking kind of their shows and putting them onto their own, so Netflix has to focus more now on original content. And then the final thing is it is an easy to imitate business model, and we can obviously again see that with all these other different organizations creating their own. Another one right now is Peacock, NBC. Some threats are a rise in competitors. It's currently happening. Every TV channel has them. Password sharing. Instead of just one family owning it, they can give their password to other families and just use that and not have as many people buying it rather than just sharing it. And then the final thing is government regulations. So shows that the government doesn't want to give off from public service. So a big one was the Great British Bake Off in England with Channel 4 was a big one for that. And so finally, our strategic goal is instead of making as many original movies as possible, I want them to focus more on fewer great original movies. And so kind of the reasoning for this is not too long ago the owner, the CEO of Netflix came out and said that he plans to make a new movie every week or release a new movie every week. And so we watched some of them, and some of them they're mainly just B-list movies, nothing too great, nothing Oscar worthy or anything like that. And so I started looking more into that, and it wasn't only until 2019 when they were first nominated for their first Oscar. And then since then, there's only been 3 more movies that have been nominated for an Oscar. Before 2020, there were 8 Oscars in total, but that was moved up to 15 after this current award season. And so, like I said, the CEO wanted to make a movie every week. It doesn't sound like a great plan to me because of the quality. It's kind of more for quality over quantity in these parts. And so my idea would just be to keep the same budget, but instead of making average movies with it, make fewer movies, but have higher quality. So that'd be better sets, actors, directors, big name people and stuff like that. With that, we can possibly reach out to niche markets, kind of more people who enjoy those Oscar-worthy movies and stuff like that, and all. And so, with the strategic goal, kind of just a purpose with it as well, is just another way to stand out from our competitors. A lot of them don't have original stuff that they are currently making. A lot of them are just showing shows that they've already had. So popular one for that is Disney. Disney has a lot of great old movies, but they haven't created a whole lot of new stuff. And so Netflix is kind to move away from that and kind of go more towards creating new original content. And so all these next slides are a part of the action plan, and how we are going to implement this. And so when talking to our stakeholders, when talking to the stakeholders to kind of show them and give them reasons why we are going for this goal, is two different things. And the first is the Ansoff matrix. And so what the Ansoff matrix is that little picture we have right there. But what it does is it shows 4 different strategies that can be used to help a firm grow, and also analyze the risk associated with each strategy. And so if you just look at it from a basic standpoint, you can put our goal into one of those 4 ones. And so ours is the bottom right, product development. It is already, I'm trying to read it, existing matrix. And so we already have, it is already existing, but we're trying to make new products. And so it's kind of more into the thing of creating better stuff. And so that's kind of just the first basic way of showing it to our stakeholders. And then the next is using Porter's 5 forces to kind of help reason with it as well. And so what Porter's 5 forces do is it looks beyond the actions of their competitors and examines what other factors could impact the business environment. And so just kind of quickly going over each one. First one is competitive rivalry, and you identify strengths of your competitors and quality of their products. Supplier power. This looks at how easily it would be for our suppliers to increase their prices. The third one is buyer power, and how easy it is for the buyers of your product to drive down your prices. 4 is a threat of substitution. That's to see if customers can find a different way of doing what you do. And the final one is threat of new entry. Looks at how your business can be affected by others entering your market. And so you can easily make a case on how all 5 of those would affect Netflix and this specific goal. But the one I kind of wanted to focus on is that last one, a threat of new entry. And so the last few years, there has been that threat of new entry coming into this field. And so Netflix was the first one to kind of come out, a streaming service like this. And so with this, we want to continue being the leader of this pack and all that. And so a possible way to do that is by focusing more on higher quality original content. They already do that with their TV shows, such as Outer Banks and You, and shows kind of like that. But they don't really do that for their movies, and so we want to try and focus more on that aspect for them, continue to be that leader in this field. And so I mentioned the stakeholders briefly and before, and how I would like to talk to them with the action plan. And so the stakeholders I would be talking to with this are employees of Netflix, the film studios that we use, subscribers, so the people who are buying our product, and finally is the shareholders, those who have stocks in the company. And so each one will be kind of talked to differently in how we would reach out to them, but each kind of below is just kind of how they are affected by this. And so for the employees, each department will be handled differently based off of what they do. So some jobs might not change as much from this goal as others. So writers and producers won't be having to write for as many movies. They'll be kind of focusing more on just creating a couple good scripts and stuff like that. Another one would be our production and development team. So instead of just saying yes to anything that sounds kind of good, kind of just being more, putting a hard hat on and seeing which ones could actually potentially be award-winning films. The next one would be film studios. They won't have as much overhaul for it. So instead of making a movie every week or 2 weeks, it would be just one movie there for a month to 3 weeks. So there won't be as much overhaul and change in directors and stuff like that at their studios. So for subscribers, they will have less original content up for them in the movie department. We are going to do a movie every week. That is not the goal of this goal, but for one every 3 weeks to a month. So they will still be getting it pretty frequently, but it's just, like I said, higher quality. And so finally, the shareholders, not a lot is going to be actually changing for them. We are still going to be using the stocks that they or their stocks that they put in, and using that money. The budget will just be used differently, so it will be the same budget and everything, but the money will be used for greater sets and just the better directors and actresses, actors, all that. So more into fewer rather than just a big amount. So next is our strategy map, and this is kind of just shows you a breakdown of how we want everything to look. So the first thing is to maximize shareholder value, and so that is our goal. Create fewer films but of greater content, and so that will be broken down into 2 sections: exceed customer expectations and inspire loyalty. And so with this, we expect to do this. They already know that the TV series and the movies that Netflix have already provided, and there are a lot of good shows, TV shows that Netflix has created, but not films. And so if Netflix is able to create multiple films in a row that are Oscar-worthy or are of higher quality, they will exceed the current notion that, they just create good TV series and stuff like that. And so that will create more loyalty to the company. So rather than people just saying, they make great TV shows, they'll be saying, they make great movies and TV shows. And so once these films, better films are better, or produced, I should say, more subscribers will be clicking on and stuff like that. And so the next part is creating quality partnerships. And so the career quality partnerships also goes to creating high quality products as well. And so if you have great quality partnerships with these big name directors and actresses and actors, you can change the company's perception. Netflix for a while did have a bad reputation with them. Steven Spielberg and Christopher Nolan were the 2 big ones. I kind of just talked about how movies should be coming to the big screen and not directly to your TV or anything like that. But if you are able to change their minds and these other directors' minds, that this is a great opportunity to have more people see your films and everything like that. You can create that quality partnership with these bigger name people. And so if you do have that partnership with quality people, quality products do come along with that. And so finally, the last one would be just to recruit and train quality employees. And with these big name actors and directors on set, employees will be expected to meet the new expectations that they do have for themselves. And so they are expected to comply with directors and actors' desires. And it won't be a big change for them, but every person is different, and making sure everything runs smoothly will be beneficial for both parties. And so next is my communication plan and how I plan to communicate this with my team or the company in general, as well as the shareholders. So the first way is through formal communication, and that is any type of communication that is offered in the official capacity of the professionals involved. And so the first type for this with managers and of the departments and all that is just meetings, letting them know straight up what the goal is and kind of what is now expected from them. And so the big team meeting will discuss the strategic goal and kind of just hearing back their thoughts as well from it. And then with shareholders, it'll be a little bit different. There will be a press release, and then there will be documents to kind of show why we are doing this goal. The next one will be informal communication, and so it has no principle structure and obeys no rules, is what it says. But this form of communication is more relaxed and doesn't have specific requirements. And so a popular example of this is just a water cooler talk. It's just you're talking with your peers, your employees, just at the water cooler or on your lunch break or anything like that, and just kind of discussing your thoughts on it, what you might like, what you might not like, and then potentially bringing that up. And so it's just a good way to hear from other people in your department and seeing kind of what they have to think about it and how it would be beneficial for all of you. And so the purpose kind of for the communication and in general is just get people excited about the new goal and to bring in new customers. So with this release, more pressure will be on the organization since they're already high expectations for themselves. We can say they're going to be great movies, but it's not for us to decide if they're a great movie. It's up for the consumers to decide if it is going to be good or not. And so hopefully it will attract new customers, but it will change also the mind of directors, and it'll put Netflix into that leader position among other streaming services in the movie realm as well. And so my evaluation method for how to kind of plan it and hear feedback and everything, I have two different ways. The first is the 360-degree feedback. And so what it is a holistic, comprehensive look at an employee's performance that solicits feedback from outside sources. So with this method, employees will be able to hear what they are doing right and what they are doing wrong in regards to the goal and their new change of title and stuff like that. And so the review won't be just from the manager or what the manager thinks, but will also include thoughts from their peers as well as department heads. And those ones will be kind of just more general and focus kind of just on the department, and so everyone will kind of get the same thing from that. And so we'll make this valuable. This method valuable is the feedback is coming from more than just one person, so it's kind of more of a group thing, and you'll kind of know for sure you might think that. And then it also just allows the employee or the person receiving this method to give their thoughts to the manager, what they think the manager's doing right and wrong, as well as what the company could be changing, and so they can move it forward and see or find a better way to successfully fulfill the goal. And the other one is management by objectives. And so this is kind of the weaknesses from the 360-degree feedback. This new one, the MOB, fixes those weaknesses in it. And so this method, managers and employees come together and identify, plan, organize, and communicate objectives to focus on during a specific appraisal period. And so what's different with this is you're planning actually out what your goal is going to be. And so the organization has their big goal in place, but each employee is kind of focused on going towards that one big one. And so with the goal, the job of this one is really to create a specific goal for each employee to make sure that they continue to stay on track and are reaching towards that bigger one. And so with this one, the plan is to, before releasing the strategic goal nationwide and fully implementing it, is coming together and deciding what specific goal would be best to help the overall goal for each employee. And so with both of these, we plan to come back every few months or so just to confirm what they're doing right, doing wrong, and kind of going over the 360 as well as the management by objectives. So in the end, I kind of just want to talk a little bit about my leadership style and what I plan to do during this whole action plan and making sure everything runs smoothly. So the first one is just be a thorough and open communicator. I want to make sure that I'm thorough about what the goal specifically is, and I'm willing to listen to what my managers and my employees are saying to me about their thoughts on it, as well as what might work as well for it. So I can explain the purpose of this goal, the strategic goal, and how it will affect each department. And so what is going to be different from their current day-to-day task, and why it can make them more valuable to the team. And then when explaining this, I just want to make sure that I'm speaking from the heart and showing that passion so they get excited about that. And so that's kind of the second thing, is just having passion when speaking about the strategic goal. If I don't speak with passion or don't feel like I'm confident in the goal, that will reflect into the people that will have more hesitations about it, especially when first starting off. And so if I have that passion and that desire, that can trickle off me and go on to this employees and get them excited from the get-go. And then the final thing is just I want to make sure I encourage recognition. This is another big thing when first starting off with it. Making sure you're telling them, oh, good job, great job, you're doing that right. Stuff kind of along those lines, especially when first starting off, because certain departments, their goals will be different and their expectations will change with this new strategic goal. And so just being positive with them in the beginning when this new change happens, just so they kind of get into the right state of mind about what is correct for it and how they're doing it correctly. So it's not just for that though, but if there is an issue, just bring it up. Don't be on them too hard, especially when first starting off, because it is a little bit different for them. So making sure that they know what is right and what is wrong and what they should be changing in order to succeed in their new job title position. That is it. Thank you.